Hey y'all, hey, and welcome to my channel, Meditations with Marini. So tonight it's going to be a little bit quicker, but we're going to talk about something. I want to put it out here, and then I think I may come back and do like a part 2 or a part 3 of this. But I want to tell you a little story, and then I'm going to give you a definition. Y'all know the teacher in me just has to do that. So, a little story. My son played baseball for a particular coach for a while, and he had been playing for coach so long that we had basically become family. And one day, I'll never forget, it was a Sunday travel baseball game. My son had, I want to say he left his cap at home. And by the time we got to the baseball field, because I had asked him to get everything, pick everything up the night before, da 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 da. And I was just fussing at him like I was just going in. He was getting out the car, my son was walking away. And the coach came over to me. He said, hey, sis. He said, I need you to bring that all the way down. He was like, it's just a hat. He said, it's just something so sweet about you that the earth needs that. And today is just not a day for you to go in about the hat. He was like, we'll just have to find somebody else's hat for him to put on while he out there. And that kind of stuck with me. My son was only maybe about 10, 12 when he said that. He's 16 now. And that particular day, it stuck with me because what it did is it let me know how other people saw me. And when he told me that the earth needs what I bring to the table, it let me know that I needed to make sure that I'm issuing out what is a part of me. So tonight, I want to talk to us about something. And the title for this video is going to be, what synergy are you bringing with your energy? Mainly for the ladies, what synergy are you bringing with your energy? And I looked up the word synergy and I looked up the word energy. The word synergy says the interaction or cooperation of two or more organizations, substances, or other agents to produce a combined effort greater than the sum of their separate efforts. I thought that was powerful. So basically, the synergy is when two things are coming together to produce something greater than the sum of what they can produce by themselves. That was good. And then energy is, in physics, is the capacity to do work. And it can exist in various forms like kinetic, potential, thermal, electrical, chemical, or nuclear. It is a conserved quantity, meaning it can be converted from one form to another. When it said that, I said, God, you be showing out. It can be converted from one form to another, but cannot be created or destroyed. That means that in order to produce something, you got to already have it in you. That was good. When I read that, okay, so the synergy, what synergy are you bringing with your energy? That means that you already got to have the capacity. In this channel, we're talking about relationships, marriage, divorce, what it's like to start back dating. So if we're looking at dating, ladies, what synergy are you bringing with your energy? What do you bring to the household that helps it to be greater than the sum of you by yourself? I'm going to leave that right there. That was good. That was good because my natural instinct is always to cultivate and make something better than what it was before I came into its presence. So tonight I was downstairs. I had been outside working in the yard, and the boys had done a couple of things, and I was like, I really want to cook dinner for them. And so it was late, but I still wanted to cook. And while I was in the kitchen, I was thinking, everybody else was kind of doing their own thing. Somebody was washing clothes, and I was thinking, I'm always interested in making the things around me better. Like, that's always just a natural desire of me. If I walk into a place and I see that there's help that needs to be done, or if I go to the Thanksgiving dinner and somebody else has cooked dinner, I'm going to wash the dishes before I leave, or I'm going to clean their kitchen to make sure that when they're done, they don't have to worry about doing that. And so I'm always interested in making the effect of things greater than the sum of just myself. But when it comes to relationship, I wrote down the interaction or cooperation. You got to be cooperative. You got to be willing to cooperate with the team and with the direction in which he's already moving in. Sometimes that means that you might have to take a back seat to the ideas or the thought processes that you have, because you need to make sure that you're undergirding the things and the vision of the household. And does that mean that you don't have to have a voice? No, that just means that you have to know when to interject that voice into the household process. You have that conversation, and it's not always about what you do, it's about how you do it. And sometimes you just need to know the right time to have the conversation. You know what I mean? So the other one is agents to produce a combined effort greater than the sum of their separate efforts. In order to want to be a wife or want to be in a relationship, and maybe I will come back and kind of talk to the men separately, but in order to want to be a wife, whatever your desire is, at this stage, we're looking at blending families. So the desire is going to have to be greater than what you can accomplish or do by yourself individually. That also means, for instance, I think about things such as my kids are teenagers and I don't have any small children. I have been a mother for 28 years, and I'm kind of at a phase where I don't really want to do that. I don't have any grandkids, and so there are no small children in my home on a regular and consistent basis. In my dating process, if I met somebody that has a child that's younger than 10 or 12 years old, I have to really consider whether or not that's a relationship that's going to be a good fit for me. And at this stage, I don't think that it will be. And so it doesn't mean that that's not a good fit for somebody else. But for me and where I am in my life, it just may not be a good fit for me. If they're the grandparent that they have their grandkids all the time, that's probably not going to be a good fit for me, because I am not in a position where that's what I want to do now. I have finally got to a place where I can have some time for me. I can schedule some things that I want to do, and I'm kind of taking the selfish road, if you will. I won't really say selfish, I would say more self-care, because for 28 years I have put myself on the back burner to assure that my children had a good mother in the household. And so the next part said, and so I'm saying that to you, that you have to decide what your boundaries are, like what your limitations are, to know whether or not you're ready to come together with someone and be able to bring a greater sum than what you would do by yourself. The other one is energy, the capacity to do the work. It didn't say nothing about receiving. It said having the capacity to do the work. But the key word for me there was, well, there were two key words: capacity and work. There are some people that we connect ourselves to, they just don't have the capacity to be with us. What is one person's capacity is not another person's capacity. And I have had to learn that everybody is not dealt the same measure. You know, what is it, that scripture that talks about the measure of faith? Everybody is not given the same measure. So all of us are not equal, even though it may be equitable. It's not equal in how we all operate. It's not equal in how we all are able to bring something to the table. And so what you have to look at is, when you're dating, does she have the capacity to give you what you need in your relationship? Does he have the capacity to supply what you need as a woman in your relationship? That's good. I think that I'm going to break this one down and do some mini lessons on this, because I think this could be taught just a little bit deeper. And then I typed conserved quantity. That means, because when it says it's a conserved quantity, meaning it can be converted from one form to another, but cannot be created or destroyed. When you meet somebody, if she got a mean spirit, that spirit is what's in her. It don't matter how much you love her. It don't matter how much you care for her. It don't matter how much you buy her something. You can take her to the ice cream store, wherever. If her spirit is not right, it ain't going to be right. And it ain't going to change. And I'm not saying that God can't change someone. What I'm saying is that he's going to do that at their own free will. And at 50-something years old, if that's who she is, that's who she is. At 60-something, at 40-something, if that's who they are, that's who they are. If he is mean and he's nasty and he's not kind to people, he is going to be that way in the relationship. So what you have to determine is whether or not that's what you want to connect yourself to. Does he have the quality, the quantity of what you need in order to be in that relationship? It says that it can be converted from one form to another. So what that means is, yes, God could use you to convert in that relationship, but you have to depend, it has to depend on how you are going to allow God to do that, because that would be done in God's time and not yours. And I'll use a quick example. My mother was always in the church. From the time I was a baby, pretty much I was a church baby. I was passed around from one lap to the next. And I don't recall my daddy going to church a lot when I was a little girl. I remember my dad, he smoked, he drank, but he was a good man. Like, he was great to his family and everything, but my daddy didn't really go to church. He wasn't that type of dude. But guess what? My mama got up every Sunday. We got dressed, we went. She was the Sunday school teacher, BTU superintendent. She was over this, in the choir. Like, every time the church doors open, we were there. Prayer band, all of that. And guess what? By the time my dad died, my dad would beat my mama to church. And I'm saying that because she had the capacity to do the work to make sure that he could be converted from one energy to another. That was good, y'all. And I want to come back and give y'all some background, even on my parents, like how they met, the things that my mother talked about with him. And my dad was a very simple guy, uneducated, didn't have no level of education, but that was one of the smartest dudes that I've ever met in my life. And so it just all is about how you look at things. So again, going back to what synergy are you bringing with your energy? So sometimes we're looking on the outside, we're looking for someone else to make the change, and sometimes we just need to look on the inside, make the change within ourselves, see whether or not we have the capacity to do the work, and see whether or not we have the ability to interact and or cooperate with someone to be in a relationship. So let me know your thoughts. I need for you to click like, I need for you to share it with a friend, and I need for you to subscribe. Have a good one.